started. Today's training is Amazon optimization and other tactics to help you sell more books. And so if you are a serious author, this is for you. You're in the right place. So real quick, let's do introduction. So who am I? My name is Angela J. Ford. I am a digital marketer, and I work with authors, writers, and bloggers, helping them expand and grow their impact online. And then I provide expert guidance on websites, social media, and book launching. So book launch strategy is one of my very favorite things. I'll go into that a little bit more. I'm also the Amazon author of the Amazon bestseller, The 5 Warriors, which is book 1 of the 4 World Series. And I am a fiction author, so I write fantasy. So that is me, and I will turn it over to my amazing co-host, Adrian, to introduce himself, and he'll take you through the first half of today.
All right, thank you, Angela. So as you can see, guys, my name is Adrian Ingram. If you can't tell from my accent, I am from Australia. I'm in Melbourne right now, and I'm a Kindle publisher / internet marketer. So I don't just publish books everywhere. I publish them kind of primarily on Amazon Kindle, so the Amazon platform. And I'm not really an author either. I outsource the majority of my books. So I'd call myself more of a publisher, whereas Angela's coming from sort of the author side. So it should be a good mix today. I spend the majority of my time actually living overseas. So this year I've spent about 7.5 months going through Southeast Asia. I'm back in Melbourne right now. But that's kind of thanks to Kindle publishing, I suppose. It allows me to sort of work from anywhere. It's quite a passive income instrument once you've got it set up. And also you can do it from anywhere with internet, basically. So I spend a lot of my time overseas. I'm the creator of a training course called Freedom Self-Publishing, so that takes up a fair bit of my time as well. Basically there I teach other people how to publish books with my method. And I'm also a YouTube content creator. So some of you guys might be here because you've seen me on YouTube before. There I tend to talk about Kindle publishing, internet marketing, travel, and then I occasionally just put out vlogs or random videos that I think are interesting. So that's a little bit about me. If you'd like to go to the next slide, Angela, we'll dive right into it. Okay, so as I said, guys, I publish primarily to Amazon. So let me just explain how Amazon works. So Amazon is currently the biggest store in the world now. So that means it does more sales than any other store in the world. You know, more sales on a daily basis than all of the Walmart stores combined. So basically that's a really important fact to take note of, because that's where the most customers are. So that's really where we want to be selling our books first and foremost. Also, Amazon wants your book to sell. When you make a book sale, obviously Amazon makes some money as well. So they've got a vested interest in actually making your books make money. The next thing is, guys, you can get up to 70% royalties on your book sales. So if you compare that to a traditional publisher, I think most traditional publishers, people get less than 50%. Normally it's like a 10 to 20% kind of royalty from what I understand with a traditional publisher per book. So that's a huge royalty that we receive from Amazon. And also, absolutely anybody can publish a book to Amazon. So traditionally, you'd need to get approved by publishers, but with Amazon, there's like pretty much no barriers to entry. Once you hit the publish button, within 12 to 24 hours, your book will be live and for sale, which is pretty amazing. Not only can you publish your book as a Kindle edition, which some of you may be familiar with the Amazon platform, you can also make that a paperback version. And more recently, you can make it into an audiobook as well. So you can actually have multiple versions of your book available. Amazon uses a search algorithm really similar to what Google does. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about today, guys, is how the algorithm works and how we can sort of game that a little bit. But just to explain what an algorithm is, basically when you go to Google and you type something in, what you searched goes through Google's algorithm. And thanks to their algorithm, they're going to produce a range of search results. So the same thing happens on Amazon. When you want to go to Amazon and buy something, you'll type that in and the most relevant results will come up. So that's their algorithm essentially. The next thing we really need to take note of when we first start publishing is that Amazon is a business. They want to make money. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to promote the books that convert the highest. So when I talk about a conversion rate, what I mean is if 100 people click on your book, if 30 of those people buy it, that's a 30% conversion rate. Now, let's say you had a direct competitor that was publishing in the exact same niche under the same book topic as you. If they had 100 people click on their book and 20 out of 100 bought the book, they have a 20% conversion rate. So as I said, Amazon wants to make money. So if we have a higher conversion rate than the competition, Amazon's going to make our book show up in the search results higher than their book. So simple things like that, we need to understand that from the get-go that we want to have our sales page convert as highly as possible. That way Amazon's going to work with us to make more money for us and also for them. And then the last thing about how Amazon works, guys, demand is key. So I primarily publish nonfiction. I know Angela publishes in fiction. I'll give some examples throughout this webinar, both fiction and nonfiction. But normally when you're publishing a book, you have a book topic, a book niche. There's something people are typing in to find that particular niche. So there are a lot of examples of this with nonfiction particularly. Let's say I wanted to publish a book on gardening. If there's no demand for gardening, if no one is searching for gardening, I could have the best gardening book in the world, but if there's no one wanting that book, there's simply no point publishing it because it's not going to sell. It could be the best written book ever. On the other hand, you could have a poorly written book on an amazing topic that might have a ton of demand, a ton of search traffic, and you'll still be able to sell that book even though it's poor quality. Obviously, ultimately, we want to have a high quality book in a high demand topic. But from the very start, when you're choosing a book topic, demand is absolutely key. So I'll talk about that a little bit in the next slide, Angela, if you'd like to go to that. Thanks, guys. We've just got Angela moving the slides for me, so bear with us. But in this slide, I'll be talking about, is your niche in demand? So here I'm looking for a couple of things. The main thing I'm looking for is to understand the best-selling rank, which we like to refer to as the BSR. Now, as an example here, guys, hopefully you can see that down on the bottom of the screen on the left there. You can see that I'm in the Amazon Kindle store and I've typed in baby names. So I'm looking for a baby names book in this instance. It's a non-fiction topic. And what I've done is I've clicked on that very first book there that you can see by David Miller for $3.04, all about baby names. Now, once I've clicked on that, you can see on the right side of the page there's a product details section. You can find this product details section by scrolling about halfway down the page after you click on a book. And here we get all kinds of information, such as the file size, the print length, which there we can see is 88 pages. We can see it was published on February 29th, 2016. But what we're really looking for is that the last thing in the list there, which is the Amazon bestsellers rank. And so if you can read that number there, guys, it says 24,942, which is actually quite a good best-selling rank. Now, I aim for a BSR of 100,000 or lower. So basically, the lower the number, the better. If you have a top 100 BSR, that means you're in one of the top 100 best-selling books on Amazon, which is an amazing feat. So 100,000 might sound a lot to be the 100,000th best-selling book. But once again, guys, this goes back to the point of Amazon being the biggest store in the world. The volume that they do is almost unfathomable. So being 100,000, if you can get that 100,000 rank and you're selling your book at the average Kindle price, which is $3, you'll typically make around $50 US per month. I also sell my books as paperback versions, and so typically they'll make a little bit more than the Kindle edition, but I look at the Kindle best-selling rank is how I gauge my kind of demand criteria from. But what we want to do, guys, is not only look at this first book, we want to look at the top 5 or 6 search results for baby names. And if they're all in that kind of rank of 100,000 or better, then I would consider that a niche that is in high demand, and that would be something that's worthwhile for me actually publishing a book on. So if you'd like to go to the next slide, there we go. As you can see, guys, hopefully at the top of the screen there, I've typed in Christian fiction. So this is a fiction example. As you can see, some of these books have a lot of reviews, which means higher competition. It could be a little bit harder to compete, guys. But I've clicked on the first book here. And as you can see, the Amazon bestsellers rank there down the bottom is at 2,276. So I can let you guys know from experience, they're selling their book at about $10. It's 2,276 paid in the Kindle store. They are likely selling close to 100 plus copies per day at $10, making a 70% royalty on that, with that kind of best-selling rank. So that should give you an idea of the kind of numbers some of these people are doing. With this niche as well, while there is high competition, there are a lot of reviews we have to compete with. I've looked through the first couple of pages of results for Christian fiction. The whole first page has best-selling ranks of about 10,000 or better. So those people, the whole first page, are making thousands of dollars every single month just from publishing in that niche. So after this webinar, guys, you might want to head to Amazon, look in the Kindle store and have a look at this niche yourself, have a look at a few different niches and play around with getting used to reading the best-selling rank and finding profitable niches. If you'd like to go to the next slide, Angela. Thank you. Okay, guys, so the next thing I'd like to talk about is how we're going to choose our keywords for our book. So to explain a keyword, basically it is a word or phrase that someone's going to type in to actually find your book. So these are normally easy to come up with, to start with, to brainstorm some, but Amazon allows us to use 7. So we have to narrow it down to the top 7. So we want to be picking keywords that are the most relevant to our book and also ones that we think are going to get the most amount of search traffic. So when you actually publish your book on Amazon's interface, they let you type in 7 keywords. And basically what that means is when someone searches one of those keywords, your book will show up somewhere in the search results. But we obviously want to be in the search results for the keywords with the highest amount of traffic, the highest amount of demand. So a really simple strategy that I like to do for this is, number one, just brainstorm some ideas that you think are related. And number two, Amazon actually tells us kind of which related keywords are the most searched for. So as you can see, guys, on the bottom of this screen here, guys, I've got a screen share here where I've typed in the word vampire into the Kindle store. So I don't know what kind of books you guys publish, but if you're publishing a book about vampires, you might want to type in vampire and it's going to give you a few suggested results. And these are basically showing up in order of the most searched. So that means that the first suggested result there that we see, which is vampire romance, that shows up, that is getting typed in more, than vampire romance for adults, which is being typed in more than vampire erotica. So basically, if you wanted to choose 7 keywords from that, you pick the top 7 that are showing up for vampire. So by having those high demand keywords, the most searched keywords, we're basically going to get our book in front of more eyeballs. And that's the aim at the end of the day, is to get more people to see our book. And then from there, hopefully they'll like our description, they'll like our cover, our title, all that stuff, and they'll buy the book. Okay, next slide. There we go. Okay, so now that we have our 7 search keywords, we actually have to rank for those search keywords, which is a totally different challenge altogether. There are, as I said, thousands of people publishing books on Amazon. It's the biggest store in the world, so we have a lot of competition. So what we need to do is make sure that we get in front of that competition, and normally that means showing up on the very first page of search results. Ideally, you want to show up within the first 6 results is normally what I look at, is the first 6 results. The higher you can show up, the better. If you can manage to rank number 1 for a particular keyword, then that is absolutely awesome, and you're really winning there. So there's a few ways that I like to do this, guys. First thing that I think is most important is you need to get sales within the first 48 hours. So Amazon is really looking at you very closely within the first few hours of having your book published. They're trying to gauge whether this book is going to be profitable for them to promote. So if you're getting a lot of sales, it's converting highly within the first 48 hours, Amazon's going to say, great, we're onto a winner here, and we're going to start putting this book higher up in the search results. So getting sales in the first 48, maybe 72 hours, but as soon as you can is ideal. That's going to really help you rank for every single one of your keywords. Another strategy that I use, guys, is quite a sneaky strategy that very few people actually seem to implement. What I get people to do is actually find my book and download it, but I get them to find my book by searching for the keyword that I want to target. So for instance, if we go back to the vampire example, if the keyword that I wanted to rank for was vampire romance, I would send my book out to people and say, hey, could you please download my book? And instead of sending them a link, I would tell them what the author name is, what the title is, and I would tell them to find that book by searching for vampire romance. Amazon's going to track that they typed in vampire romance, they searched through to whatever page I was on in the search results, they clicked on my book and they bought it as a result of searching that keyword. So Amazon's algorithm is really advanced. They track all of this stuff. They're going to be tracking how people find a book. They'll track that they found it through that particular keyword, and then they'll track that conversion rate from that keyword. So once again, guys, if 100 people found my book through searching vampire romance, and if 30 of those people bought it, I'd have a 30% conversion rate for that keyword, which would make me quite relevant for that keyword. So getting sales in the first 48 hours, but getting them through searching that keyword, it's going to make a massive difference. So if you're currently promoting your book to family and friends or on Facebook or whatever, instead of just leaving a link there, maybe put a photo of your cover and say, hey guys, can you please search for vampire romance in the Kindle store? I'm on the 3rd page. And then that would be a much better way for them to find your book. The next thing is, guys, obviously to get sales within 48 hours, we're going to have to do a few things. Typically, a lot of people really struggle with their book launches and they don't get sales quick enough. And then once they've done that, it's extremely hard to rank their book. So as I said, guys, first 48 hours are absolutely crucial. The first strategy, this is the easiest one. Just ask friends and family to buy your book for you. This is, as I said, Amazon is the biggest store in the world. Nearly every single person has an Amazon account, particularly for those of you that are in the US or the UK right now. It's really big. Ask friends to buy your book and review your book. Also, guys, you might want to price your book low to begin with. Keep it at the lowest price possible, which is 99 cents on Amazon Kindle. If people aren't willing to do that, maybe reimburse friends and family, give them $1, buy them a coffee, whatever you got to do, just get them to buy your book within the first 48 hours, get 10, 15, 20 sales right off the bat. Also ask them to obviously use that strategy I just mentioned and find your book by searching that particular keyword, and that's going to really help you. The next thing you need to do is leave you some reviews. Reviews are powerful social proof. People see reviews and they basically, based on other people's thoughts, even if they don't read the reviews, they'll say it has a 4.8 star out of 5 review ranking, and they'll say, okay, everyone else thinks this is a good book or a good product. I'm going to buy this book or product as well. So if you can get friends and family to leave you reviews, that's going to really help. How many reviews you need, it kind of varies depending on the niche you're in and how many your competition has. But I find that once you hit 20 reviews, the sales start to really increase a lot at that amount. So if you can get friends and family to leave you some reviews, that really helps. Because in my experience, guys, only 1 out of every 100 or 200 people that actually buy your book will ever bother to leave a review. It's a big problem that Amazon has, unfortunately. Very few people take the time to review books or products. So every single review that you can get from someone is extremely valuable. The last strategy I'm going to tell you guys about, I'm a little reluctant to tell you guys about it. It's a bit of a gray strategy. It's something that is kind of looked down upon, but that is using review swappers and doing some review swaps. So technically, you're not supposed to do this, but it's something that so many people on Amazon do that to compete in most niches, it's almost impossible to do without using this strategy. If you don't have a big following, it's almost impossible to successfully launch a book without using some sort of a review swap program. So what I like to do, guys, what I recommend is use Facebook groups. So you can go to Facebook and type in search keywords such as Kindle books, free Kindle books, Kindle reviews, Kindle book swap, and you're going to get 10, 20, 30 different Facebook groups there. There are other authors and publishers just like yourself who are trying to promote their book and get some reviews for it. How this is going to work is basically they'll have their book priced at 99 cents typically, as will you. You'll message them, they'll message you, and basically you'll agree to download each other's book on a particular date. Once you download each other's book, obviously that's a great way to get a sale, but then what you want to do is take it a step further and actually read each other's books, and then after a few days' time, leave an honest review. Now, I would recommend a few guidelines to go along with this, such as make sure that you actually read through the book and give it honest feedback, no copying and pasting reviews. We want honest feedback here. And also, guys, don't go downloading and posting, 20 reviews a day. You can do a couple a day you can get away with, but don't go crazy here. But For most people, unfortunately, when you start out, this is a strategy you will need to do until you start building a fan base, until you start getting some sort of a following. Just for the first couple of weeks of having your book published, you could use this strategy just to get those initial sales and get some reviews. Okay, so what results can you expect, guys? So I can't really give you a set dollar figure, unfortunately. There's so many different variables that this is going to depend on. So it depends on everything I've talked about so far. It depends so much on the demand, the competition, and how well you execute all the strategies we've talked about so far. So if I had the #1 ranking spot for the baby names niche, where the best-selling rank was 25,000 versus the #1 spot for the Christian fiction niche, which was about 2,500. I'm not going to sell as much. I'm not going to make as much money with the baby names book just because of the demand. But on the other hand, the competition for Christian fiction was a lot higher. So it's a real trade-off there as to how exactly your books go and how long it takes you to start seeing some good results from your books. But guys, if you do everything correctly, it can be a highly, highly passive source of income. As I said, I travel most of the year thanks to this amazing method of making money online through publishing books. I've been really fortunate that I've been able to do that. And it is so passive. I do work a lot on it and on other projects. But when I want to take 2 weeks off and just relax for a while, I can do that thanks to how passive this income is. And also, guys, it can be extremely simple to scale the process and publish more and more books. You can publish sequels. If you do what I do, you don't even write the books yourself, so you can publish under a multitude of different niches by hiring different writers. And you can continue scaling and scaling and keep publishing more books until you basically hit the level of income that you're happy with. So, guys, on the next slide, I'll share some results of one of my books. So I published this book a few months ago now. These results are from one book alone. I did not write the book myself. It's a short non-fiction book. I'm not going to share the niche for obvious reasons, but the total cost was less than $300. The book was in a niche with a 50,000 best-selling rank average. So as you remember, I said, look for niches with 100,000 or better. I'll say the average of the top 4 or 5 books is about 50,000. So the #1 book might have been 25,000. The #5 book might have been 100,000, but the average is about 50. On the left side of the page, guys, you can see the royalties earned. I have a screenshot there. You can see this is for the month of September, September 1st or September 30. The top platform there that you see is the Amazon Kindle platform. So these are all the electronic sales from this book. It's done just over $130 US, just over £1 in the UK store, just over $2 Canadian, and about $5.50 Australian. As I said earlier, guys, I briefly mentioned that I actually publish my books as paperbacks as well, and I find this to be a more lucrative place to publish. So on the bottom of the screen there, guys, is a print off from CreateSpace, which is an Amazon-owned company, and they handle all the printing and publishing of my paperback books. I hold no stock there. It's print on demand. But as you can see, guys, that report is also from September 1 through till September 30 for that one book, where I sold 122 copies. I made just over $400 US, just over £40, and about €4 as well. When you convert all that, that is just under $600 US, $598 US for the month of September. In Australian dollars, that's 780 Australian dollars. And that's from 1 month, from one book. Now, I can't guarantee these results every single time, obviously, but that's an example of what's possible with a short non-fiction book. I didn't write myself, and that's within a couple of months of having it published. And this month, it's looking at doing similar results as well. So hopefully that gives you guys an example of what's possible with my particular method. I think that's it for my slides. I'll hand it over to Angela now.
Wow, thanks so much. That was awesome. I definitely have some takeaways and some tips to use. And I certainly want to add to that. So, I highly recommend this method and doing what Adrian did and making sure Amazon is completely optimized for selling your book. And then I'm going to go through and give you 7 additional tips to use with marketing your book and making sure that you're reaching those new audiences and finding new people to buy your book and go ahead and market it for you. So number 1, I recommend going on a virtual blog tour. So this is a lot of fun, and it can work well for both the fiction and the nonfiction market. So basically with a blog tour, what you're going to do is hand select. You can either have a company do this for you, or you can hand select between 10 to 15 popular book blogs that really focus on the genre that you're publishing in, and reach out to them to do a full-on feature or a post about your work. So if you're doing this, and I do recommend doing it yourself, or working with a company to do it for you, but you can make a list of the sites that you want your book to be featured on, and then go ahead and contact those site owners or the bloggers with your pitch and the date that you want your post to go live. And then along with that, do either a giveaway, provide the owner a free copy of the book so that they can read and review it and promote it for you from that angle. And you can also offer to do a lot of different things with a blog tour. So some that I've done in the past have been a character interview that works really well for a fiction book, are doing a author interview that works well for both fiction or nonfiction, telling your story about the book, how it came to be, or honestly just having the book blogger do a full-on review of your book. And that's another way to get those reviews on Amazon that you really need to get, is reaching out via blog tour, connecting with those book bloggers that have that larger audience and having them write a review from their perspective. Because now you not only get that review on Amazon, you also get to tap into their audience and have them promote your book, and then that leads to, of course, more book sales for you. So that's number one. Number two is to make the ebook free and promote it. So while I don't recommend making your book free for, like for forever, I do recommend doing like a short, like either 3-5 days, making your ebook free and promoting that. And that really helps increase your book visibility and shoot it up to the top of the rankings on Amazon. So Adrian talked a lot about Amazon, and Amazon actually lets you use Kindle Direct Publishing has a program where you can choose to exclusively sell your ebook on Amazon. And when you do that, you get to unlock some benefits. One of those includes the 70% royalty. And then another one includes, making your book free for 5 days. I think every 3 months you can make your book free for a 5-day period, up to a 5-day period. So that's another way to do these brief short promotions. The first time I did it, it was crazy, actually. I had over 2,000 people download the book in one day. And I actually submitted it to Freebooksy, which is a site. They have an email list of over 200,000, but they have different genres that they promote free books on Amazon. So I promoted it that way, and what happened was that although the book was free, and I paid Freebooksy about $100 to promote a free book, which I know sounds a little crazy, but after the free ebook promotion was over, since the book had been bumped up to the top of the bestsellers rank, what happened was that it continued to sell because there were more eyes on it. So the next day when I got on and looked at my royalty report, I saw a ton of book sales, and I ended up making that $100 that I spent promoting it back and then some. So that was another great place to promote the free ebook and do those promotions every 3 months or so. I do them twice a year now, just because if you aren't constantly marketing your book, it does tend to sink down to the bottom of the list, and that's one way to kind of give your book a boost and get more eyes on it. So number 3, I recommend setting up a giveaway on Goodreads. And now this actually works better for your paperback book. So if you do publish a book, I highly recommend Amazon CreateSpace. That's an excellent way, as Adrian mentioned earlier, to get your paperbacks out there, because it is a print-on-demand service. You don't have to carry any stock at all. Amazon will basically, once your book sells, they'll print it off, ship to that person, you're good to go. So one of the things you can do, I actually have about 10 to 15 paperbacks that I keep with me at all times, whether at the house or, when I'm out and on the go, because you do never know when someone will want to go ahead and purchase your book and when they actually want an autographed copy. And so one of the things you can do with those copies is do a giveaway. I highly recommend Goodreads for that, because it is a platform that is built to connect readers and authors. And they have a lot of different groups available. The accounts are free to set up if you haven't heard of Goodreads or you haven't gotten on there yet. But what you can do is create a giveaway for your paperback book. And what it allows you to do is get your book in front of that new audience. So every time I've done a giveaway, I've gotten between 5 to 1,000 people that actually signed up for the giveaway. And those are people that previously haven't read my book, haven't been as familiar with me and what it's about. And so that's a way of getting it in front of them. And then most of the time that goes on their reading list on Goodreads, and they have the opportunity to go ahead and either purchase it on Amazon if they didn't buy it, or find another resource to go ahead and purchase it. So that's a great way to get in front of a new audience. Kind of the formula I recommend for doing that is when you're setting up your giveaway, at the very top, put a review, and it can be from Amazon or someone else, but just a really awesome review that highlights how amazing your book is. And then putting your book's teaser text instead of the description. So the description kind of gives more details about the book, but that's something that they can find out if they go to Amazon and take a look at it. But the book teaser really just entices them to read it. It's something that can't be seen anywhere else. And then following that up with another review just to get them really excited. There are other people that are talking really well about this book who are excited about it. And so that's something that they would want to read. So the Goodreads giveaway is another way to get your book in front of a new audience. All right, number 4, Facebook groups, and how can this actually help you? So Adrian talked about the review swap, which is a great way to get more reviews. And I also recommend Facebook groups for a few other reasons. So they benefit you because you get to network with authors and get that support and accountability. You also get to network with readers and then collaborate with others. So the keywords that I recommend using when you're searching for groups, they should be very author focused. So, you can actually get on Pinterest and search for, best Facebook groups for authors. Because most of the time people have a blog post up about the groups that they use and the groups they highly recommend. And Pinterest acts as a search engine, and so it's an excellent way to find things like Facebook groups. And of course, you can also use the keywords that you want to use on Facebook and search for book bloggers or, self-publishing groups. Some of those will really help with that. And then the 3 things that I recommend looking for when you're joining a Facebook group is look for engagement. So if you're joining a group that's meant to connect the authors with readers, you want to make sure people are actually engaged in that group and they're not just posting promos. Because if a group has just a bunch of promos and there's no likes, no comments, no nothing, then you're not really going to get anything out of that, because it's just a way for people to post promo links and no one's actually engaging, interacting, or clicking on them. So engagement is the number 1 thing I look for. There's more than 1 or 2 people who are actually interacting and talking and having a conversation. And then number 2 is themes. So for Facebook groups that are really successful and the ones that I've been a part of, they actually have daily themes or daily prompts for what they want you to do. So maybe Saturday is the day like you share your social media network, or Wednesdays are the day you share a sample from your book, or Thursdays are the days you ask for support with your marketing campaigns for your book. So there are a lot of different fun things that can happen and things that help you to get creative, think outside the box, and think of other ways to market and promote your book, collaborate with others, and get the word out there. Facebook groups is actually a way that I actually unintentionally started selling my book, just because there were people that started conversations and I saw an opportunity to just drop it a note about the novel, and that a lot led them to buying it and then reading it, reviewing it, and just kind of telling other people about it, which is always a great thing. So number 5, don't leave the house without book swag. So what is book swag? I actually carry bookmarks with me everywhere I go. And so there's a picture of my novel and then the bookmarks. And this is another strategy that works well for both fiction and nonfiction. So with the bookmarks, I recommend making sure on them you have at least the name of your book, your name, your author name, a review, would be awesome if you can put that on there. But it serves really as your business card, and then having a place for people to actually go buy the book. And so I actually had recently, I was at a bar actually with one of my friends, and it was super late at night, but we were just talking to everyone in the bar, and people were asking us what we did, and we were just talking about that. And I told one guy that I wrote novels, and I was handing him a couple of bookmarks, and right then and there, he pulled out his cell phone and typed in the link to my website, went ahead and hit purchase and bought the paperback novel. And he was like, good, I'm really excited about reading it. So I highly recommend always having your book swag with you, whether those are bookmarks or business cards, because you never know when an opportunity could arise to hand those out. I've taken them to my local bookstore and left them there. They're also at local coffee shops around the area. And then actually one of the coolest things was doing a bookmark swap. So I actually live in the United States, close to the East Coast, and I know an author who lives closer to the West Coast. So what we actually did was we mailed each other bookmarks so that we could promote them on both sides of the country. So that's another way that you can get the word out about your book, reach a new audience, and then have a creative way of marketing that doesn't seem as, as a hard sell or as intrusive as telling people, okay, I write books, go look it up. You can just give them a bookmark, which serves as, it's handy to put in the book while you're reading it, and they can also pass it on to someone else after they have made their purchase. Okay, number 6 is set up an interactive quiz or a game on your website. So this one is also something, I know that the word game doesn't sound like it can work for a nonfiction, but it actually does work well. One website that does this is the 5 love languages. So there's a whole book detailing the 5 love languages, and in relationships with your family, your friends, or romantic relationships, there are different love languages that people use to make them feel loved and appreciated. And so on the website, even though there is a book that you can buy, there's actually a quiz you can take to find out which love language is yours. And that's a really cool thing to do because it gives people that kind of immediate free thing that they can do before they go ahead and purchase the book. So what I actually did for my novel is it's called The 5 Warriors. So I made a quiz, asking people which one of the 5 warriors are you most like, which I handed out during a book launch party and created one for the website. And that really got people interacting with it and more curious about the book because they could identify with one of the characters. So of course they wanted to read more about that character and find out, am I really like them? Am I really a homebody? Am I really a super adventurous person? Just those sorts of different things that aren't traditional for books, but can help you reach a new audience. I recommend using BuzzFeed to browse for ideas. They always have a ton of quizzes that, I don't know, for some reason they're so popular. But at the end of each quiz, they have a way for you to share your results on social media. And so that's another way that you can get the word out about your book, and then having a unique hashtag to go along with that will also encourage more people to talk about your book online. All right, number 7. Now this one actually is something that takes you offline, so it's not an online strategy at all, but I recommend joining local author groups and getting involved in their events. So the way you can do that is research, what's available in your area, what's available locally. Are there writing groups? Are there author events? Are they put on by libraries? Are there local bookstores that have readings and signings? I actually use a website called meetup.com to discover new groups. Those can range from writing groups to entrepreneurship. There's really anything, but take a look at what's available to you locally and what you can get involved in and participate in. Some of the events that I've been able to participate in because of these local groups that aren't online have been a book signing at Barnes & Nobles. So that was a really fun thing to do. I also got to do a book reading. And then I also do book signings at libraries in the local area. And those are fantastic. Those help with book sales because you get to meet people that might not necessarily go online to find the books, but they're coming out in person and you can sell directly to them. And when you're doing that, I also recommend having a card swiper because some people don't carry cash. So it's a lot easier for them to just use a card swiper to go ahead and make that purchase and you can get those book sales in. And of course, make money from selling your books, which is what we're all about. So that wraps up the 7 additional things that you can do to keep reaching new audiences and get more book sales and get more people talking about it. And as a bonus, I want to tell you about some other things that you can do to keep the book buzz strong even after your book launches. So my passion really is the book launch and the book launch strategy and what that looks like. And so I actually have a course that's dedicated to planning a book launch and making sure that you have that successful foundation so that you can launch and you can get those reviews and you can start building that momentum and keep it going. And so the course includes, how to get book ambassadors to promote your book for you. So one of the things that I keep hearing from authors is that, they don't want to necessarily do all the marketing themselves. And I found that book ambassadors, they do it for you. And that's so very helpful because they're always talking and raving about your book, even when you're not. And then you'll also get a timeline for book marketing and what to expect at each step. You'll get instructions, a detailed tutorial on how to make both your paperback book and your ebook available for pre-order, and that's on Amazon. And then why you should start building an email list and what you should send them, how to create a book sales page and what that entails. It also involves social media and what you can do for maximum exposure, which doesn't involve posting every single day. And then what kind of return on investment you can expect from using ad campaigns. And there are a lot of different ad campaigns that you can do, and those include Amazon, Facebook, and Goodreads. And I'll go through each of those in the course. Then I'll also discuss the power of giveaways and virtual parties, which you've heard a little bit about the giveaways. And then ideals for pre-order bonuses for fiction and nonfiction books that won't break the bank. And then, of course, the fastest way to get your book into the hands of hundreds of readers. So for today, because y'all have been amazing, I'll have this for 50% off. Most of the time it is $200, but today I want you to have it for, that one-time fee of $100. And that's not all. I know Adrian has an awesome offer for you as well to really help with the Kindle publishing. So Adrian, do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, sure. That was awesome, by the way. It's funny, I've been doing this for, about 3 years now, but I still have a lot to learn, obviously. I picked up a few cool tips during that, which is cool. I've got some research to do later today.
Awesome.
But yeah, guys, I do have a training course I mentioned about earlier called Freedom Self-Publishing. It basically teaches everything that I've learned over the last 3 years of publishing. During that time, I've published over 200 books. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've really refined my process to the point where I can almost guarantee the results, like what I got earlier in the webinar that I shared with you from every new book I publish. So basically, it includes over 50 follow-along videos. So it's basically all screen share. So I go through the entire publishing process on screen through all these different videos. It's about 10 hours worth of content. So it can seem like a lot, but the idea is that you follow one video, you do the step described in the video, and then you move on to the next one. And so I'm holding your hand the entire way, basically teaching you my system. And then once you've done it once, you can do it 100 times. It teaches you how to outsource almost everything, including even the writing of your book. So if you would like to publish additional books at a faster rate, actually outsourcing the writing is something for you. And even if you're not a great writer and you would like to make some money off this particular method, you can do so by outsourcing the writing of your book. So I show you how to do that. I also show you how to hire inexpensive virtual assistants to run your business for you. So these are going to further outsource your business and allow you to do a couple of things. Number one, they allow you to scale quicker. They can do things for you like edit your book. They can promote and do marketing for your book. As Angela mentioned, a lot of people don't enjoy the marketing process. I show you how to train people to do that for you, which is a really big time saver. And I also show you how to outsource and train them to actually get your reviews for you as well, because that's a process that a lot of people don't like doing. And by doing that, that also allows you to free up your time. So I've called it Freedom Self-Publishing for a reason, because of the freedom that self-publishing can provide when you use this particular system. Right now, it's available for a once-off price of $97, and then you have lifetime access to all the course updates with no more to pay. I will be updating the course, changing a few videos around and restructuring it slightly. by the end of the year. But once you're in, you get lifetime access, and all updates from then on are free. So you pay $97 once off, and you never pay another cent again. And also that gives you lifetime access to a private Facebook group where we're nearly at 100 members now, and they're all other authors and publishers just like yourself trying to make this business work. I'm also very active in that community as well. That's a place where we can just ask each other questions, get feedback, maybe help each other out by reviewing each other's books, all that kind of stuff, and discuss different strategies. So that's a really great place to find some support. Angela mentioned the power of Facebook groups before, and how great that can be to connect with those like-minded individuals and help each other out. So that is honestly one of the most valuable parts of the course. But as I said, guys, once off, price of $97 today. Before the end of the year, that will be going up to over $200. So I do recommend getting in if you'd like to get in as soon as possible. And I'd love to have you as a part of it. But I think we have a bit of time now for question and answers. If anyone has any questions about our offers at all and about the webinar in general, I think we'd be happy to help you out.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I know probably one of the big questions right now, let me pull us back up, is how do you get access to these courses? So let me go ahead and turn this on. So under offers, you'll actually see the courses. So you can go ahead and click on those and just have them up in your browser windows and let us know what questions you do have about them. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. I have to do a bit of research on those paperback giveaways. That's a strategy I think could work really well for me. I do a lot of the paperback sales, so I'm surprised I didn't know about that. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's really cool that you do a lot of paperback sales, because I've heard several people ask me, is it worth it to actually, go through the trouble of getting a paperback book designed and then having that available on Amazon? And, some people said that, the ebooks are what really sells. And I found the opposite to be true, actually.
Me too, yeah. Yeah, I typically do about 2/3 of my revenue from the paperbacks. And guys, as well, with CreateSpace, as you mentioned, like that's print on demand. So you don't have to hold any stock. You don't have to pay up front. Say my book's $10 on CreateSpace. Amazon will say, okay, you keep $3, we keep $7 for printing and our cut. And they just pay you at the end of the month. Like you don't have to handle anything or pay up front at all. So I think it's the way to go, is to have it on Kindle, paperback, and then for some people, audiobook as well. It's something I've been experimenting with a little bit that I talk about in Freedom Self-Publishing as well.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done the audiobook yet, but I know that's something that I need to do because I have people ask for it.
Yeah. That's great to do. Okay. Michael, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Has one of you also got some books in permanent promotion? So I haven't done this strategy. I do talk about it in the course and show you how to make a book permanently free. So it's something you can do. And the purpose for doing that would be, number one, to just kind of build a fan base. And most people that do that, they'll give away some sort of a free giveaway in exchange for an email. For gathering that email so they can market to them further products, be it additional books or affiliate promotions, that kind of thing, or products in general. So I haven't done that strategy. It's something that I'm looking into doing with one of my own books that I've written myself about Kindle publishing. But I do talk about how to do that. It's not too difficult. It's just a little bit time consuming to get that done.
Yeah, I haven't done that either. And I definitely see why people do it. A lot of the time someone will have that free book and then they'll have a lot of links in the back so that someone can take the next step and either purchase another books or like take a course or something like that. But there's always something that, takes them to the next step. So it's almost like a sales funnel, if you will, excuse my marketing talk, but where you're offering something free in order to get people on your list and kind of hook them in. And then the next thing you do is, once they've digested that free content, you want them to go ahead and purchase something from you at some price point.
That's it. Yeah, so it is a powerful strategy if you can get it right and rank your book highly. And John asks, is review swapping allowed by Amazon? Technically, no, it's not. It's one of those kind of gray strategies. But it's one of those things as well. Like you can go and ask someone to download and leave a review of your book, honestly. You can email your fan base and ask them to do that. That's totally okay. What Amazon doesn't allow you to do, they don't specifically say review swapping, but they don't allow incentivized reviews. So basically, you're not allowed to pay someone to get a review. Amazon actually sued a lot of people that were paying on a website called Fiverr to get reviews. You can't do that. But I find that doing review swaps, as long as they're honest, organic reviews, and say Angela published a book and I published a book, there is no harm in us downloading each other's books and actually reading them and then leaving an honest review. There's nothing wrong with that as far as Amazon's concerned. What you can also do, guys, is you can give away your book for free. So you can do a free promotion, or you can actually just give them like the PDF file or something of it, and they can leave an unverified review as well. That is actually allowed by Amazon. So that's another way you can go about it.
Yeah, and I like that. I like having someone purchase the book because that has a little verified review pop up on Amazon, which is really neat. And then I've seen some people bad-mouthing people that don't have verified reviews. So it's just a cool way of saying, yes, I actually did buy the book and read it, and I left a review.
Yeah, the verified is definitely better. But I mean, if you have 40 reviews and all your competition has 50, giving away a book to a few people to get up to that 50 and have a few unverified there, that's a good way to go. But for the most part, guys, as I said, the first 48 hours is so important. Get your sales then, and then there'll be verified reviews right from the start if they leave you reviews from then. And then it's all good from there, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. It's just those reviews are really important. I've noticed the reviews are really what sells the book. And I mean, that's both for fiction and nonfiction, because you can do everything right. You can have the great description and the beautiful cover, and you can write an excellent book. But if you don't have any reviews, people are just kind of like, do I really want to buy that? So
that's it. Yeah, it's that social proof that you need. Just a handful of reviews just to start the process, get the wheels turning. And then once you have that, the review swapping process can kind of stop. You know what I mean? So you can get some reviews to start with, and then hopefully calm it down and stop doing it after that. And they should start just having organic sales and organic reviews coming in from that point. That's the aim.
Yeah, that definitely is the goal. My book has been out for, over a year now. And it's just kind of automatically happens. Like the book sales happen. Saw a nice little jump in paperback book sales this month for some reason. No idea, but I'll take it. And then the reviews just come in. People just leave reviews. I don't really have to ask or like beg and plead anymore.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah. That's something, especially groups of authors.
I think when people see like a lot of reviews there, they feel more inclined to leave another review, like to get their 2 cents in. It's interesting how it works, but the more you have, the easier they seem to be to get.
Yeah. Well, one question I have that's really interesting: how do you deal with negative reviews, or have you ever gotten any negative reviews?
Yes. So when I first started publishing books, I was not as focused on quality. Unfortunately, I wasn't doing my due diligence really and making sure books were high quality before putting them out. Mm-hmm. So they'd sell for a while because I did the niche research and everything well. But then when you start getting negative reviews, the sales really they dry up pretty quick. So what I do now is I try and avoid them altogether. I try and make the books quality from the get-go, but you can't please everyone, unfortunately. So what I tend to do, if I do get them, you can actually downvote those reviews and upvote the positive ones. That's one little strategy so they don't shop in front of the readers that are looking at your book. But the main thing I like to do is I take those into account. So oftentimes I'll reply back to that reviewer. You can actually leave comments there. Okay. I'll take note. And so if I have one review complaining about one certain aspect, I'll take note of it. But if I get a couple of reviews saying the same thing, that's when I'll really start taking action, and I'll go ahead and I might address that issue. So if they say that they were upset that a certain topic was missing, then I'll add in that topic. And plus, you get to keep your reviews, you get to keep your sales rank, your title, your cover. Everything stays the same. You can update your book at any time, and it doesn't affect any of those changes. So then you get to update it and release it as a second edition, which I find people really like, actually, that it's a second, third, fourth edition, that you're constantly improving that book. So that's the way I've dealt with it. But if you can avoid getting them in the first place, I think that's always the best strategy.
Yes. And, sometimes it happens, people don't like your writing style. So they're like, oh, hated it. But I mean, at that point, it's just, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's it. You can never please everyone, unfortunately. But if you're getting a few negative reviews in a row, guys, that's a pretty good indication that you've got some problems there. You might want to, fix that up pretty quick before it gets out of hand.
Yeah, sure. All right, one more. I released a book called Lower Back Pain. It's on first place, but it's not selling. Afraid that this niche is not that profitable. Do you have any tips? Adrian, do you want to tips for that?
Yeah, in my opinion, if that's the main keyword, lower back pain is the one that you think is getting the most searches. Most people are typing that in that have that issue. And you're ranking number one. I'd look at what your reviews are like. Do you have a good ratio of reviews? Sometimes you might be ranking number one, but if you've got a 3-star review ratio, then that might mean that you're not selling and the next guy down is selling. But typically, if you're ranking number one and you're not getting sales, I'd say that's a poor niche. So I recommend going back, looking at that niche, check the first 4 or 5 book results, and check those best-selling ranks. If they're good best-selling ranks, then it's a good niche, and maybe you've just got to fix a few things up there. Otherwise, from the sounds of it, it's probably not the most profitable niche to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other thing I recommend doing is going to your audience and just kind of asking them, like, here's this book. Why would you buy it or why would you not buy it? Because that can also give you some insight onto what they're really looking for. Maybe a book isn't what they want. They actually want a video series, or they want something else to help them out with that back pain. So that's a good question to survey your audience and see what they want, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, lower back pain might be a great topic for a video course or for YouTube series or something like that, but perhaps people aren't looking for books in that instance. So in different categories on Amazon, maybe physical products, people are typing in lower back pain. It might be good in the physical products niche, but maybe not in the books niche perhaps. So I just go back and have a look at a few different niches, do some research, see if you can find something perhaps related, if that's your field of expertise, that might get some more searches.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we've got one from Serge or Sergey. Hope I'm saying that right. From both of your perspectives, what has been more successful to implement alongside your book? A YouTube channel, a blog, or a website? I personally haven't done a lot of this. I've done it mostly with the books that I've written in my own name, which I've written about Kindle publishing, and I use that to kind of get leads that I promote my course to, I promote my YouTube to. I found YouTube to be my best kind of medium, basically, because I think it's more personal than emails or a blog or a website. Just for me personally, I think I come across better on YouTube. But like I said, it's not something that I've delved into too much. So I think, Angela, in the fiction niches, I think that's a much better thing you can do rather than the nonfiction, where I'm publishing under a bunch of pen names. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so implementing alongside the book, I think a YouTube channel, blog, and a website are all great things to implement along with your book. I actually haven't done YouTube, although it's been recommended, and I probably should. I just haven't. And I got really tired of the blog for my book because it's a book, and I didn't want to break it down into a blog. So I kind of stopped doing that. But the thing that I do have that does really well along with my fiction novel is a website. And it's great because it's the one hub, the one place that people can go to find the book. They can figure out where they want to buy it from. So they can get it from Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million. They can see reviews. They can see when I was launching the book, there were pre-order bonuses that were available for it. And that's something that I go over in the course as well, like how to do that and how to do that in a way that is not like super expensive. But so those were available, how to get their pre-order bonuses, all of that stuff was available on the website. And then of course, like how to contact me, any media, all of that stuff. So I highly recommend the website. And then if you do have the time and are creative enough, going ahead and doing either a blog or YouTube channel or both. Because with the YouTube channel, and for people that don't particularly love like, trying to write a blog every week, but rather would talk it out, what you can do is embed your YouTube video on your blog and then just kind of, highlight these are the key points that are covered in this video. These are the resources or the links that were included. And then people can go ahead and watch that on your site. But that does certainly help with the search engine optimization, and this helps you have something that you have more control over to help get the word out about your book. So I love the website. I highly recommend that one.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I definitely agree. I often like to, when I'm looking at a niche, actually check out the other authors in the niche and see if they have websites and that kind of thing. Because if you're coming up against someone who has a big following and a website, often it's really hard to compete with them because they're getting so much traffic from their YouTube following or their blog following. So it definitely is powerful. It can take time, but I think if you master it, that can be a great way to boost your book sales for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, John asked, do you use pen names at all? How many are we allowed to have? Well, you can have as many pen names as you like. I would say that I don't use a pen name at all because I do want people to know that I'm Angela J. Ford and I write fantasy novels and I do book launch strategy, and I want it to be very easy for people to find me online. So right now, I guess it kind of depends, but if you type in Angela J. Ford, I should be one of the first things to show up on that search engine search. So the thing with using a lot of different pen names is that if you are trying to get that social proof from having several books released, having a different pen name means you kind of have to start over from scratch with every single book that you're releasing. So instead of having a huge catalog and if someone goes to you and they look and they're like, oh, well, this person has only published one book, I'm not so sure about them, versus this person has published like 10 books, they're clearly amazing at what they do. They have all these positive reviews. Having the different pen names kind of takes away from having that reputation online, that positive reputation online. Adrian, any thoughts to add to that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I use a lot of different pen names because I'm publishing under a lot of different nonfiction niches. But what I like to do, like you said, is to publish books on a related topic under the same pen name. So for instance, if I was publishing a range of different gardening books, I'd do that under one pen name. And then if I had a range of cooking books, I'd do that under a separate pen name. You're allowed as many as you like, as Angela said, but if you're using an Author Central account, which is basically a place you can make a profile. So you'll see on some people's author pages, when you're looking at their book, you scroll down, it'll have a section that says about this author. It has a photo. You can click on that, have a look at their blog post, their Twitter feed. You're only allowed 3 Author Central profiles per account. But for most people, you're not going to use much more than 3 pen names, and you can always open up a second Author Central account if you need more than those 3. So for most people, it's not really an issue. Awesome.
Great. Well, any other questions while we are hanging out here? Let's see.
Come on, guys. Anything. Happy to answer.
Yeah. Trying to think of any other questions that I had, but yeah, you covered so much during the training. It was great.
That's great. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed hearing what you had to say and learning a few different strategies myself. So I've got, that's my Friday afternoon sorted. I've got to go and do a bit more research, I think, and try a few of these new strategies out.
Yeah. I think my big thing is keywords. I'm always like, what keywords should I use? So I'm going to use that strategy to update mine and tell people to go search for it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's a really powerful one. John, I'm in Melbourne right now. Is where I am.
Yeah, and I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, in the United States. So it is still Thursday for me.
It's Friday, 11 a.m. for me right now. So opposite sides of the globe.
Pretty cool.
Technology is a cool thing.
Yes. Yeah, okay, you're not too far from Nashville. Nice. Oh, we do have another question from Chris. How much do you budget on each launch? Ooh, that's a good question. Adrian, do you want to tackle this one first?
Okay. with my launches, my main expense is really getting reviews. So it depends how many reviews I'm going to get, how many other people's books I'm going to have to download, but typically not very much. If it's a book that I really need to promote as well, I'll use some strategies like Angela suggested, where you pay a place to promote your book and email their list. I haven't done that very often. I don't have a heap of experience with that, but typically for me, my book launch is probably $100 or less.
Nice. I like it.
What about you?
Okay. So with my book launch, I kind of folded a lot of different things into that budget. So the initial launch budget is different from, how much I'm going to pay my editor, my designer, my pre-order bonuses. So if I'm just talking like launch and leaving that stuff out of it, I will actually spend anywhere between $100 to $500. One of the reasons that's higher is because I like to do my pre-order bonuses. So I need to get those designed and, get those shipped to me. And then one of the other things that I really like to do is a actual live book launch, which is huge because that's actually where I sell a ton of books. So in my book launch course, I actually go through, what that should look like. And then I actually have a budget that you can download and plug in your numbers until you're comfortable at the final cost for it. So those are different things that I include in there. So like editing, the design, any of my pre-order bonuses that I want, shipping those pre-order bonuses out. If I want a venue for my book launch, what does that look like versus, having it at a place that's free to me? And then, if I'm providing all of the food and drink and decorations for that, what that looks like. And I do have to say the book launch party that I did was absolutely incredible. And I would definitely do it over and over and over again because it was just a huge party for that and everyone came. And one of the things that I wasn't expecting, I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, but every single person that came prepared to buy a book. So my friends, my family, they all came. They're like, we're here. We want our autographed copy. A lot of them had actually already pre-ordered the book. So this was like their second copy. Some people had gotten it from Kindle. So it was their second copy as well. Some people bought copies to give away. So it was a great event and it's a great way to sell out of books. And then to get that money from investing in that book launch back immediately from that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And guys, you got to realize I'm publishing short nonfiction books primarily. Angela's publishing self-written novels, which are quite long, quite detailed, a lot of effort on her part to put together. The launch process has some differences occasionally, depending on, I personally don't want to be the face of a lot of my books. I mean, I'm using pen names. I'm not doing book launches and signings. I'm probably missing out on some sales because of that. It's just a method that I like to use, which is a little bit more hands-off and different. But if you wanted to spend the time and effort, like if you were going to write a book yourself, if I wrote a book myself like that, I'd want to spend the money and do the same thing. And it's going to definitely pay off and build a much bigger fan base by doing that kind of stuff as well. So how much you want to spend, it's like how long's a piece of string really, how much, how involved you want the process to be, what would you like your results to be. So yeah, it's going to be different for everyone, I think.
Exactly. And it really depends on your goals. So that's really important too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Again, how many hours do you guys delegate to maintaining your business? Okay, so do you want to answer that one? How much you use to maintain the sales of your book?
I like to do the 4-hour work week where I just kind of do like maybe an hour a day. One of the big ways that I really keep up with my book sales right now is Instagram. That's what I use to connect with my audience. So as long as I'm posting a picture every day of my book. I know that sounds like the most boring, tedious thing to do. Like every day you post a picture of your book to Instagram. Yes, it really works. I typically have people reaching out to me when I do that. So I'll have book bloggers reach out and they're like, can you send me my book? I really want to read it. And then once they get the book, they do the promotion for me. So they get their book mail, they take a picture of the package, they open it up, they tell all their fans, this is what I'm reading right now, this is who it's by, and then they actually do a review afterwards. And so that's also something I go through in my course, How to Plan a Book Launch, is, using social media, how to use that without, just sitting around posting consistently, but how to be very intentional about what you're using it for. So, okay, I want to get more book sales. So these are the people that I want to connect with. Here's where they're at, and here's how I'm going to leverage that and turn that into book sales.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
okay.
Yeah, I agree with the 4-hour work week style of doing it. I've got a team of virtual assistants that tend to do just about everything for me. The main thing that I do if I've done everything correctly, put it this way, I've got good reviews and my book's high quality. Once it's selling, it's going to continue selling pretty well because I've used the algorithm to my advantage. I'm making sure I'm ranking. And if it's good, it's not going to get the negative reviews that bring it down. So it can be quite active at that point. The main thing I spend my time doing is like once a month setting up some free promotions for some of my books, running them through a bit of a promotion. If a book needs some updates, I'll update it. But I really don't spend much time at all. Once a book's selling, I kind of like let it go as much as I can. If it starts dropping a little bit, then I'll spend some more time. But yeah, 4-hour work week maximum to maintain the sales for sure.
Yeah, it really is passive income, and I love that about it. And with the book swag, I always have bookmarks wherever I go, so it's super easy. If someone's like, "Hey, what do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, this is what I do. Here you go. Here's a bookmark. Enjoy."
Yeah, and that's hardly an hour. That's hardly working on your business. That's just telling people what you do. It's a great way to do it. Okay, Chris asks, what do you budget to publish your books? So in my example before, the total cost for that book was around $300 US. That's pretty typical for me. That's a short nonfiction book. If you want it longer, it might be $400 or $500 in total. But yeah, around that from start to finish for me is my total cost. Typically, I keep it quite low, but I publish a larger number of books.
Mm-hmm. I actually do about $2,500. That's what I budget for it, because I do the editing, the design, and then I have my marketing budget for it. Of course, you can do much less than that. So really, the things that I see as the non-negotiables are, having at least someone that's not you proofread your book for the mistakes and the errors in it. Because I know that I'm not an English major. I'm going to make tons of mistakes. So I always have to have someone else, actually not even one person, but I have, anywhere between like 5 to 10 people proofread the book for me. So, that depends on how much you're willing to pay for that. And then also the design. The design to me is very important. I have like a vision in mind when it comes to the design. And I tend to work with more higher level professional designers. So that's another like cost that drives it up. And then I do a lot with the marketing, the book launch planning. So I try to keep it under 2,500. Sometimes it's, even less than that. But that of course depends on, what you're willing to do with it and how much you do want to invest in it. You can definitely keep those costs down.
Awesome. So yeah, obviously guys, once again, how long's a piece of string? Everything's going to be different for every single person, and what you want to do and what approach you want to take. Okay, so Michael asks, Adrian, did you start this business writing yourself or while working outsourcing and paying for books? So at the time I started this, I was working a part-time job and I was at university at the same time. So I wasn't writing books myself. I was outsourcing the writing and just getting the money that I earned at my job and pretty much putting it straight into books. So I did that for quite a while. And nowadays, right now, I'm trying to publish a ton of books by the end of the year. I'm trying to really smash it out. So at the moment, I'm outsourcing the majority, but I'm writing occasionally some chapters myself, or in other cases, the whole book myself. So that's really the first time I've spent actually writing the books up to this point. It's almost been entirely outsourced for me.
Yeah. And that's really cool that you do that outsourcing. Like a lot of authors do that, or especially the people that are more in the professional light, are more like the celebrities, like they'll work with someone to get those books written. So it's not an unusual thing at all. It's actually very smart. You can get that book out faster if you work with someone else for that. So it's a great way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Then John's got a question, I think, for you. Where do you find proofreaders? I don't personally use proofreaders. I pay someone to write the book and then I'll proofread it myself. Possibly I should get a proofreader, but how do you go about doing that?
Well, that's very smart, because since I do write the books, then I need someone else to proofread it. So it's kind of the opposite. But I do recommend either reaching out to a lot of editors will do proofreading. So there are different levels of editing. There are about 3 different levels of editing. But one of the lighter levels that doesn't cost as much is proofreading. So I actually did a search and, found some editors that are really willing to do just the proofreading part, and then we negotiated a fee. And then I also have a group of fans that are serve as like my beta readers / proofreaders. And so they'll read my novels, months before they come out, and they'll tell me the parts that they love, the parts that they hated, the parts that are super boring, the parts where they were confused and, they felt really bored. This is starting to sound like a huge process, but they do that for me so that, and they also proofread a little bit. They catch some errors and mistakes. But I also do a final proofread out loud before I publish the book, just to catch anything. Because if you don't have time for a proofreader, I do recommend at least reading your book through, like taking some time away from it and then coming back and reading it out loud, because that will help with catching those errors, because you hear things a little bit differently than you read them.
Great answer. Might be something I need to get eventually, a proofreader. If I'm publishing too many books, I personally just read and edit them all myself. It's quite time consuming. That's the one real time consuming part of my process, but yeah. Okay. Tom asks how to check the BSR on every niche. So how to check the best-selling rank on every niche. I just like to come up with a list of potential niches I like to publish in. And just like I showed guys earlier in the slides, type those into Amazon, click on the first few books, scroll down to product details and look at the best-selling rank. It's pretty simple. It's pretty tedious, but once you've done it enough times, it gets really fast. You get real quick at doing it. There are softwares such as KD Spy is one a lot of people like to use. I've used it before. Personally, I'm just about as quick doing it myself after all this time, just to scan through. And you get pretty quick at checking the BSRs and moving from niche to niche. So just spend a bit of time playing around on Amazon and you'll work it out.
Great. All right, Martin asks, is it harder to get reviews after the recent Amazon review policies? Did the change affect your sales? No, not for my end. I didn't see anything affecting my sales at all. I think with the review policy change, like a lot of my reviews are actually verified reviews, because a lot of people that had the book beforehand also bought a copy. So then when they did leave a review, it ended up being a verified review. And people that bought it directly from me versus online, they also bought either like a Kindle version or they downloaded it at some point, which made it a verified review. So yeah, I haven't seen, and nothing has been affected me negatively from that change.
Yeah, I haven't been negatively affected either. Basically, now if you have a new Amazon account, you have to spend at least $50 on Amazon before making a purchase. That cuts out a few of these kind of like review swappers or people doing reviews in exchange for money. So that is going to lower competition, in my opinion. There are ways around it. There are still ways to get your proper verified reviews. Hasn't affected me at all, but I think it's actually a positive thing because Amazon has such low barriers to entry. It's been so easy up to this point to get these reviews. I think that now it's going to be a little bit harder for some people. That'll scare some people off. But in my experience thus far, it's been all good, to be honest. It's kind of helped me, if anything else.
Yeah, I found that helps a lot too, because, I mean, the reviews are awesome. So I love seeing them pop up.
Yep, so hopefully that answers that. But yeah, don't be deterred by the Amazon policies. It's still a great time getting involved with publishing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Good. Well, this is really cool. I'm just so impressed that everyone is still on. We're like 25 minutes over and everyone's still here. So that's really cool.
Thanks for hanging about, everybody.
Yeah. Well, any last minute questions anyone wants to get through before we wrap up and send out the replay? Type them in. Have about 5 seconds. Yeah, John, good luck. Good luck with
John.
For sure. We definitely want to hear how it's going and want to see that book. What kind of genre are you focused on? Oh, thanks, Chris. Awesome. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, again, don't forget to take a look under offers. There's the Freedom Self-Publishing Training, and then plan a book launch course. So that will definitely help you, John, with the nonfiction. Yes, like that's awesome. Oh, we do have one more.
Okay. One of you, what would you change on the way you started? Some rookie mistakes, maybe. I made heaps of rookie mistakes. I published over 200 books, as I said. The first 100 or so, unfortunately, were poor quality and in bad niches with no demand for the most part. So that's the biggest thing I'd change. It took me about 100 books before I was able to quit my job, where I was earning $1,500 a month at that job. Now that I know how to do the niche research, and I'm really strict with my niche research, I can get results like I shared before, where I was making, $780 from one book in 1 month, which was half of what I used to earn in a whole month of working. So pick your niches really carefully. That'd be the one thing that I'd change.
Yeah, the one thing that I would change is that I would get my book ambassadors involved sooner, faster, and have a better way of communicating with them. When I didn't really have a book launch team when I came out with the 5 Warriors. So I would definitely put together a book launch team, have a ton of fun incentives for them to get them talking about the book. So that would be one of the mistakes that I wouldn't make again.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, learn from our failures and mistakes.
Do it right. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us and for staying an extra 30 minutes to make sure you got all your questions answered. And what we'll do is we'll send out the replay. And yeah, we definitely wish you luck with your publishing journey and hope that you make a killing out of your book sales.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. This has been really cool.
All right. Bye.